90% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, or some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia. AB skinheads with big giant swastikas. Pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better stick.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories and some good insight on things related to gangs, prison, and I'm going to share some with y'all today. If you happen to like the video, be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP Rocky, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Also, like I told y'all, man, I rap. Do not get it twisted. The flow is none like Curtis Blow. Yeah, that's me right there getting cracking on the intro. And also, if you want to listen to my music, scroll down to go to my YouTube playlist, scroll down to gas stations, and you're going to find my music there. Now, with that being said, let's hop right up into this story right here, or excuse me, this topic right here. Now, a lot of people have been asking me recently, what happens if a person drops his flag in prison? Now, first of all, I want to say that's I don't know, we don't use that terminology on the West Coast. I've never heard somebody on the West Coast say, Johnny Moe dropped his flag or whatever. The term that we use out here is he stopped banging or whatever. But I mean, that's a term that I see a lot on the internet. So, I just use to try to make my video shine a little bit more. But okay, I'm gonna name some ways that, you may drop your flag. And this first way that I'm going with is actually, of course, it's not by choice, but it's by force. Sometimes a person may be forced to stop, to drop his flag or stop banging if he marks out or if he does something that's considered unsavory in the gang world, And of course, first and foremost, man, if it comes to light that you have snitched on somebody, you have told on somebody, you definitely will be excommunicated. You're gonna get them things put up on you. Beep boop bop, beep boop beep. And that's if you lucky. You might get stabbed, and then you're gonna be sent on your way, man. Also, if you mark out, if you do some buster stuff, let me give you a few different scenarios, man. You might be walking with your homie, chilling or something. For whatever reason, he gets to some type of confrontation with dudes from another gang. They rush him, they jump on him, and you stand by and watch. Now, this has happened before. Like I told y'all, man, everybody in the pen and everybody from a gang they're not necessarily with the business, man. Some people are just faking it to making it, going along to get along. And so if you do some stuff like that, you don't help your homie, you definitely through, bro. You can definitely hang it up. You probably gonna get the brakes beat up off you, and once again, you're gonna be sent on your way. Also, if a riot jumps off and you fail to participate, now when a riot is cracking, man, it's it's so much going on. I don't even necessarily know how some people can notice who is and who's not participating. Maybe somebody run past and see their homeboy hiding up under the table or hiding up against the wall or being back out the way or whatever. But and the sad part about that is, I've heard that happen a lot, man. And the sad part about that is, there is really no no evidence for a person to prove that, yeah, hey man, I was getting cracking, unless you had a couple of people who definitely seen you, hide and stuff like that. But yeah, in the event you don't participate, you don't help your homeboys, you don't help your race, yeah, you through vote, Another way sometimes, man, is if you turn down a fade. Somebody call you out for whatever reason, they want to get into it with you, they want to fight, and you refuse to fight. Now, that's not going to automatically get you put off your hood. Sometimes you may get disciplined by your homeboys, and then they'll force you to go back and take the fade that you turned down. But sometimes also too, if you turn down a fade or two, you doing too many things that's considered cowardly. Yeah, you can get put off your hood. Now, another way that I've seen people sometimes, stop banging or drop their flag is turn into religion, man. You have some people who come to prison and for whatever reason, they may have a religious awakening. And, they go out there and they tell their homeboys, hey, listen, man, look, I made a decision and I'm no longer going to be representing the neighborhood. Now, it just all depends on what prison that you at and who's there, in order to calm down the dudes who may want to get you, or sometimes rile up the dudes that want to get you. And also, it does make a big important thing on who you were from your neighborhood and in terms of your reputation and what all you done, sometimes may determine whether, people beat you up or whatever. But believe me, regardless of how high your name was in reputation and accolades, it's always going to be a few people who disagree with your decision, and seeing what you have done in terms of choosing to stop banging as letting down your hood, letting down your homies. Because let's keep in mind, man, you have a lot of people in prison, man, who, well, actually, I don't believe nobody went to prison by doing their best thinking. So you have a lot of immature people. You have a lot of illogical and irrational people. And, when they see you deserting the homies, deserting the hood, a lot of people, take that as extremely offensive, man. And they definitely want to get you. Now, and I don't know why this is, right? For some reason, though, sometimes it is seen more favorable if you leave the gang for Islam over Christianity. Now, hey, listen, I don't know why that is, man. And my personal opinion is that in prison, for the most part, Christianity is seen as a weak religion. The typical stereotypical idea of a Christian is a person who's meek, a person who's humble, a person who is unwilling to defend himself. Now, that's not always true. I've known some dudes and there's some Christians, and some of them were Crips, but they also believed in God, and they was definitely with the business. But that's just the more spread around idea about a person who's a Christian. Now, you still also get some flack sometimes for people who become a Muslim, because, you still have dudes who gang banging. They don't care what religion you claim it. They see each one of them as a cowardly exit from the game, But like I said, a lot of times when people do turn Muslim, they don't get as much flack, or they may not get any flack, because in prison, Muslims are still seen to a certain degree as militant, and they're definitely not weak. The Muslim brothers will definitely mount up in a hurry if you disrespect somebody from their community. They will, hop up and be ready to get on your head. They're extremely close and protective of their brothers. So sometimes that may be the reason, like I say. But I have seen sometimes and heard people be disgruntled, when they homeboy leave to be a Muslim or a Christian. But like I said, sometimes it's just, for whatever reason, you get more flack. People get more flack, man, when they turn Christian up in there for whatever reason, man. Now, a lot of times too, maybe like around 2015, 2016, 2017, somewhere up in there, the later years of me doing my time, man, I seen since they had started Because initially when I came to prison, even if you were sentenced to life with the possibility of parole, the parole board was not paroling lifers. So later on, once they did revamp the parole system and they did start to let lifers out, sometimes dudes now would give their homeboys a pass and be more understanding if he was a lifer and he came to his homies, his collective, his gang, and said, hey man, listen, you know what? I got a chance to go home now, man. So even though I still got love for the hood, I'm no longer part of the hood. I'm no longer representing, man. I've been locked up for 27 years. I'm trying to go home, you know. And a lot of dudes was extremely understanding of that, especially if this dude was, you know, considered a rider, a person who had put in a lot of work for his homies, for his hood, in and out of prison, you know, because who doesn't want to go home, you know? So, you know, I knew of a few scenarios though too, where sometimes dude was a lifer and he'd tell his homeboys, hey, listen, man, I'm not representing that no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go home. And his own homeboys who he was kicking it with just 2-3 weeks ago, they started preying upon him, took his cell phone and everything. You know, I had a particular situation where my homeboys got into it with some other dudes, you know, and I'm not going to mention the hoods and this and that, but now the dude who his homeboys ended up later on taking his cell phone because he had turned Christian, me and him was outside trying to figure out a resolution for this situation. And so I'm saying that to say at that point, he was wholeheartedly speaking for his homeboys because he was an older dude and he was out there, you know, basically defending them and advocating for them. Now, the same homeboys he was defending, maybe 2 or 3 months later on, when he made a decision that he felt was best for his life, they preyed upon him, you know, I think one of them used his cell phone and they was refusing to give it back because sometimes, like I say, your homeboys will throw you to the wolves, like the story I spoke about, even though he wasn't an actual gang member, Cool Breeze, you know. Sometimes, like I said, depending on who's on the yard, when you tell your homeboys, your gang, your collective, hey, look, I'm through, you know, they'll let the rest of the gangs on the yard know, hey man, listen, Joe right there, he don't run with us no more. So whatever he gets into, he's on his own. So then maybe a week later, you get into it for whatever reason, or now some dudes feel that they can press on you because you don't have no support. Your homeboys is not going to be there to participate and help you in whatever you got yourself caught up in, you know. And so sometimes it happens like that too, you know. And then also, you know, sometimes people just mature, man. You know, sometimes you have an individual in prison for however long. It doesn't necessarily have to be a long period of time, you know. There may have been something that happened in his life or something he's read or for whatever reason where he just feels that, you know what, this gang life ain't it for me, man. This gang life ain't it for me. And I'm trying to get away from this and go home. It just all, like I said, again, it all depends on what gang you're from, who you are in that gang, and then sometimes it depends on what homies you happen to have on that particular yard that's from your gang. If you have some more mature dudes who are able to calm down the ones who feel like, you know, you've turned your backs on them, then possibly you may not be exposed to any physical violence or any type of retribution from your own homeboys. It just all depends. Now, I have seen dudes, man. I have seen dudes who, like I said, also, they were lifers. You know, because listen, you can't when you're in a gang in prison, you're pretty much responsible. Say you might have, depending on now, if you're from a hood that's relatively big, you may have 12, you may have 20 homies on the yard, and to a certain degree, you are pretty much responsible for all their actions, because if one of them happen to go outside or get in the building, get caught up in the building and do something that's potentially going to lead to violence with your homies and some other dudes, then you're responsible. You're responsible to show up. You know, you're expected to participate. You're expected to get cracking if the fight jumps off. You know, if there's a standoff, you're expected to go outside like, hey man, you know, we just got into it with whoop-de-whoop. All the homies come out on the next unlock. You expected to participate, you know, and all that. If one of your homeboys is gambling, he done ran up a debt and can't pay, you know, the people he ran up the debt with may come may come to somebody from your collective and say, hey man, you know, your homeboy Little Willie, man, he owed a homie $200, man, and we trying to get paid. So how we gonna settle this, you know? And so all these things sometimes, you know, falls on every member of the collective, regardless of whether he's the one gambling. So you may have to come outside and beat your own homeboy up. So it's just a whole lot of different variables that go with that situation, man. And so, like I said, if you have 20 homies, then you're somewhat responsible for all that. So being a lifer, you know, anytime you get into a situation, anytime you receive a 115 or a disciplinary action, that's going in your file. And also when you go to the board expects you to be trouble free for 5 years. So if you're a lifer and you're trying to stay trouble free, it is very important to not be responsible for a whole bunch of people, because, you know, a lot of times, and the majority of the people in prison don't have life. So, you know, when a person who doesn't have life gets in trouble, he might can just stay out of trouble for 90 more days and get the time back he lost for getting in trouble. Like if you get in trouble, sometimes they might take 3 months good time from you. But if you stay out of trouble after a certain period of time, you can file for that good time back. Well, a lifer, you can't do that. And so all these things just play an extremely important part. And so, like I said, man, I seen a dude who was extremely reputable, you know, when I ran across him in 2001, up in there somewhere, you know. Later on, around 2015, 2016, he had made the decision that, you know, no longer affiliating himself with his particular organization would be best for him to get out. Now, there was a lot of dudes up there on that yard who didn't know the old dude, you know, and so they thought that they could test him. You know, some dudes wanted to get him. And like I said, the penitentiary sometimes can be an extremely predatory place. You know, you have a lot of dudes, man, who for whatever reason feel that violence is the best way to proceed. And like I say, they may not know the old, you know, your name could have been J Killer back then. They don't know the old J Killer. Now you going by your real name, Jonathan, you know, so now all they see is a soft, meager dude walking around, you know, staying out of the way, minding his business. And you'll have some dudes who want to test that dude. So yeah, it's extremely difficult, man. And it's always extremely problematic when you tell your collective, like, hey man, you know what? I'm through, man. I stopped banging. There are things in my life that are higher on my priority list than being a gang member. So like I said, it just all depends, man. It just all depends on who you are, where you at, what you've done, and all that stuff. But yes, sometimes it is possible to stop banging and drop your flag. Now, like I say, a lot of times when I tell y'all stories, I'm speaking solely for the blacks and my experience as being a black convict, you know. Now, I will say that if you're in another organization, yes, it's going to be extremely more difficult to do so, because as many of you know who follow the black YouTubers, the black prison YouTubers, you know, it's no secret that the blacks, the Crips, the Bloods, they're loosely organized at best. You know, they don't put the pressure on their members like certain other organizations, you know. So yeah, if you're in another organization, it's extremely hard sometimes to, you know, to take that route and tell your homies, look, man, you know, I'm no longer pushing with the homies. But anyway, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program. Them crackers let me out the gate, now the pressure's on. What? We about to get this shit straight like a pressing cone. Okay. The wrong cat to get aggressive on. I bring the bitch up out of niggas while you think they got them dresses on. My reach long and that's the best type. To have some dirty white boys come and smoke you like a meth pipe. And leave your chest bright red like a fire truck. Kicking your mom's door at night, nigga, and tie her up. I'm wild as fuck and I'm respected by the new youth. I put this pistol in their ear like a Bluetooth. I blow their brains on their new coupe. And have red everywhere just like a function full of soup whoops. Tell your troops I deal with beef like a butcher. My 4-5 pump more guys than Ashton Kutcher. Line pusher, quick to bury your clown. Nigga, I stayed in the park like the merry-go-round. Get it?
The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. Oh, you niggas don't know my name. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. I'm out here doing my thing. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. I swerve in my own lane. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me.